November's data is in and Vancouver's condo market is in a shift. We've noticed that throughout the downtown market, the west side and the east side of Vancouver, that we are starting to see drops in terms of inventory. And this is something that I have been keen in on for the last several months. Essentially, no matter where you've been across the lower mainland, we've seen it increase month over month after month since December of last year with inventory, and in some areas, a doubling of inventory over the last 11 months. But there are some key factors with this recent data that shows that inventory may have peaked and now it's starting to come down. So if you're a buyer, you're going to want to sit through this whole thing to show you where the best opportunities, if you are in the condo market as well as the townhouse market, or if you're a seller, where do you want to sit? Are you wanting to put your home on the market now? Wait till the spring. I'm going to be going over all this data for you, as well as some of these really interesting mortgage pieces that are coming into effect in the next couple weeks that are definitely going to supercharge the market between the 1 million and 1.5 million price point. So my name is Kyle Mark, your Vancouver realtor, and whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or relocate to my beautiful city, Vancouver, make sure you book that discovery call. All my information is in the description below. Shoot me a text. Let's jump on a call so we can help you move forward with your real estate goals. So the first thing that I want to show you, and I'm going to bring up these advanced stats here, is the downtown market. So if you are a buyer and you are looking for your best bang for your buck, the downtown market, especially the downtown west side market, has been hurting for quite some time. There are properties that are sitting, and there's good value on there right now. There's properties that are selling $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 under assessed value, especially in that 2-bedroom realm. I have a 2-bedroom listing of my own. If you're interested in that, I'll put a tag up here so you can look at the listing video. But I'm also working with a number of buyer clients, and what we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks, that it's starting to pick up in terms of sales. And we know that a report just a couple of weeks ago showed that around the province and Greater Vancouver, that sales were up over 30%. So we are starting to see the effect of these lowered interest rates coming into fruition. So as you bring up the downtown attached market here, and like I said, these are advanced stats here, which I really like. We'll be breaking down the price band, the areas, just so that you know exactly what to look for. This is for condos and townhomes. We know that this is the softest market, and the downtown market is sitting at a 13% sales ratio. So that is just in balanced market conditions. Anything up to 12% buyer market conditions, between 12 and 20% is balanced. And then above 20%, now we're in seller market conditions. So that you can see that the total here is 13%. This is a live look with these reports. So I want to look at this data live with you so I can give you my first initial responses. And we can see here, actually, Cole Harbour is the softest sector right now. I know that it's been going between Vancouver's downtown west and Cole Harbour, but Cole Harbour has dropped here at a 7% sales to active ratio. So if you're in the downtown market, honing in on Cole Harbour is going to be huge. You can see 151 inventory with just 11 sales. The West End and Yaletown have been performing the best over the last year, sitting at 16%, and downtown is at 11%. So just in buyer market conditions as well. But Cole Harbour is something that you're wanting to key in on. If we look at these price bands here, you can see that essentially the one hot market is in this 900,000 to 1 million mark, where you're in seller market conditions at 23%. As this is condos and townhomes, these are going to be higher end 1-bedrooms and entry level, 2-bedroom condos. But that is a competitive segment right now. If you're going from 7 to 900,000, you're in buyer market conditions at 13 and 11%, and you want to key in on and use this data to your advantage. If you look at a Cole Harbour unit and something that is above 1.75 million all the way up to 4.5, you're going to have great value. You can see that anything that's above 1.75 million all the way up to 3 million, you're in single digit buyer market conditions, sitting at 7%, 5%, 3%. You have a little jump up here in that 3 to 3.5 market, back in balance conditions, as well as at 4.5 to 5. But keep in mind, there's not a lot of data here. In that 4.5 to 5, you're at a 7 inventory and 1 sale. But we know that down in here, 1.5 to 1.75, 72 inventory, 9 sales, 45 inventory, 3 sales in these price bands. And that's why I like these advanced stats. It really helps us key in on these areas. We know that across the board, it doesn't really matter if you're looking at a 1-bedroom to 3-bedroom, they're all performing in around the same, between 10 to 15%. And then as we wrap this up, and I want to show you here what I was talking to you about. So this graph here on the bottom, we can see that we've actually actually had a pretty big spike in terms of pricing, jumped from 754 to 875, so almost 125,000 increase in price point month to month. So we're going to be wanting to watch this the next couple of months just to see if this is just a one-off or if we are starting to see the impact of these mortgage rate drops and pricing to improve. But this red dotted line here is what I want to bring your attention to. You can see that in December of last year, we were sitting at 702 inventory. Up until last month, and in September, it jumped up to 1247, almost a doubling. And now we've had 2 consecutive months of a drop of inventory. And this is what you want to key in on if you're a buyer. You need to start looking at getting into the market. 2024 is definitely your year to get a good deal. And I think we are starting to see things start to go into more of a choke point. And what do I mean by that? The blue line here are solds, right? So this has been pretty much flatline all year. 141 sales, 172 was a pinnacle or May of 178. When you're operating as a buyer, you want to have a big gap between actives and solds. And you can see that in comparison to December of last year, there was a choke point. That's where you want to be as a seller. And then it started to widen here. But now that we've had 2 consecutive months, we see an increase in price point. We know that there are going to be some changes. And then finishing the downtown market here, seller's best bet, selling homes in the West End, Yale Town, up to 1-bedroom properties. If you're a seller looking in those markets, that is a hot commodity. And as a buyer, homes minimum $5 million in Cole Harbour and up to 3-bedroom properties. So if you really wanted to hit a home run, you package these together. Looking at a Cole Harbour unit, minimum $5 million with 3-bedroom properties, you're putting all these analytical numbers together to get you the best amount of price. But I also know there have been some big sales. There's a colleague of mine who finally closed on one of the highest condo sales in the last 22 months. The property was listed at just over $12 million. So we're starting to see money starting to flow a little bit. This is very much in its infancy, but I wanted to bring this to your attention if you're a buyer. The downtown market is something you need to key in on. Book that discovery call with me. It's in the description below. And let's get you on track for a great buy where you can get some appreciation in the short term. So moving on, we're going to go to Vancouver's west side in their condo and townhouse market here. And you're going to see a little bit of a lift here, 17% on average sales to active ratio. So balanced market conditions, getting to the higher end of the balanced market conditions, but there are still some opportunities out there when you're looking at these communities. For example, right off the hop, Cambie, 123 inventory, just 9 sales, 7% sales ratio. That is a very great place if you're looking on the west side to get some great value for your purchases. South Cambie, 78, 3 sales, 4% sales to active ratio, and South Granville, 5%, 43, 2 sales. So these are the areas that I would be looking at if you're looking on Vancouver's west side. Then in opposition to the downtown market, we do have a lot of booming categories on Vancouver's west side. Kilchina, 28%, Point Cray, 33%, Mount Pleasant, 25%, Kitsilano, 41%. And then you can see here Fairview, Falls Creek, Kerrisdale, and Kits, as I mentioned, all in seller market conditions. So there's a little bit of a boom or bust mentality here on Vancouver's west side. Either market is popping off, seller market conditions, or it's in the gutter. So depending on where you're at on that seller side or that buy side, there is opportunities for you in those areas. If we jump over to the price band now, we know that anything from 500,000 up to 800,000 is in seller market conditions. There's a little bit of a pause between 800,000 and 900,000 where it's at 19%, but then from 1 million to 1.5 you are again in seller market conditions, and then it really starts to taper off. From 1.25 million up to 275, you're getting a lot more value, a lot more options in terms of those price bands. And then 3.5 to 4, it does show 33%, but keep in mind there's only 3 inventory with 1 sale. As we go over the actives and the solds in Vancouver's west side, you can see here a lot more of a variation in terms of inventory. In December on Vancouver's west side, 547 actives. It jumped up to as high as 1,074. And with the solds on the blue line flatlining and not making a huge impact, so this gap got very wide here. But again, like the downtown market, we now have 2 consecutive months where inventory is dropping. Sales are starting to pick up. So we're starting to see this gap close. You know, you can see in December and January these choke points here in terms of the market. And we saw early in 2024, it was a very strong market. Properties were selling very quickly, and then inventory started to pick up. So we're starting to see signs that inventory is starting to get swallowed up, and I think we may be at the peak in terms of inventory. So finishing this off here, most active price band on Vancouver's west side, 600 to 700,000. Buyers best bets, homes between 2.25 to 2.5 million in the Cambie, South Cambie, and South Granville areas with a minimum of 4 bedrooms. So these are some areas as a buyer or seller. If you are in any of these positions, make sure you reach out to me so that we can get a discussion of what will work best for your situation. So we're going to wrap things up here now on Vancouver's east side. And out of the three categories, the west side, downtown, the Vancouver east side is performing very well right now. 25% sales ratio. So in seller market conditions, overall, there are very heavy seller market conditions in these areas here. So you can see that Collingwood, 27%, Fraser, 67%, Grandview Woodland, 30%, Hastings, 50%, Hastings Sunrise, 100%, Killarney, Knight, Maine, and Mount Pleasant, as well as South Marine and Victoria are all in seller market conditions. So most of the sub areas are in seller market conditions. In terms of value, if you're looking on Vancouver's east side, Strathcona sitting at 11%, and that is pretty much it. Everything else is quite competitive, and South Vancouver sitting at 13%. We're starting to see the market is changing with these numbers. This is a big deviation from what we saw in October. If we look at price bands, anything from 300,000 all the way up to 1.5 million is in seller market conditions, except in this 800 to 900,000 price band. And I think we saw that the same thing on Vancouver's west side. So for whatever reason, this 800 to 900,000 band is a little bit soft in a lot of these communities here. If you're looking for some really good value, you want to jump up into that 1.5 to 1.75 marker at 8%. In that, you're going to be looking at a townhouse for sure on Vancouver's east side, or a really nice large condo. Down here, when we look at the actives and the solds, we can see here with my illustration in December, 325 inventory, it jumped all the way up to 351, and that was just over a doubling of inventory that we saw in just less than a year. But now again, 2 straight months where we've dropped from 651 to 582, and sales are starting to pick up here, and this divide is starting to close. So like I said, if you're a buyer and you're looking at any of these areas, you are starting to run out of time. Seller's best bets: selling homes in Fraser, Hastings, and 2-bedroom properties. Buyer's best bets: between 1.5 to 1.75 in South Van, Strathcona, and minimum 4-bedroom properties. In Strathcona, I've actually been taking a few clients out that way. As you may have noticed, or if you're not in the community now, the new St. Paul's Hospital is well underway. It is completely out of the ground, and if you look, and I encourage you to look at what the OCP and the community plan is for the hospital itself and all the outbuildings, that area is going to pop off. It's going to be gentrified. It's going to be beautiful for what they're going to do. So that area is really going to change. I also have a beautiful 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Strathcona available right now. 9'6" ceiling heights, as amazing North Shore and ocean views, as close to the water as you can in a residential sense. I'll put a tag up here as well so you can check out that video. But if you have any interest in that, reach out to me. At time of recording, it is December 3rd. So in 12 days, December 15th is the day you want to circle in your calendar, because that's when these 2 big mortgage changes are coming into effect. The first one, first-time home buyers, you're getting some more relief. You now can amortize up to 30 years instead of 25 years. That saves you about 9% on your monthly. So that's going to give you a little bit more purchasing power in terms of being able to get into the market. But the big change here is the rate and the bar of insured mortgages is now going from $1 million to $1.5 million. And why this is a big deal is because anything over currently $1 million, you have to put 20% down. They are now reducing that, and now that 20% down number, that saves you about 9% on your monthly. So that's going to give you a little bit more purchasing power in terms of being able to get into the market. But the big change here is the rate and the bar of insured mortgages is now going from $1 million to $1.5 million. And why this is a big deal, $300,000, that now drops to $125,000. So some of the biggest things that I see in the marketplace is people can afford the mortgage, they just can't save enough for the down payment. So this is going to open up this corridor for this price category between 1 and 1.5, because a lot of people are so packed into these entry-level condos but need more space. Now when you open it up to 1.5, that is going to get people into larger condos and townhomes, especially in these Vancouver markets. And on December 11th, another change coming with another rate reduction. Is it going to be 0.25%, or are they going to swing again for another 0.5%? Either way, we're going to get some more relief on the 11th. There's another policy rate announcement in January. So this is all starting to move where it's going to start favoring sellers. So I just beg you, if you're a buyer, please reach out. And this is not panic selling or anything like that. You can just see all this data. All of 2024 was an amazing time to buy, but now there's some things here that we see a shift in the market. So like I said, my name is Kyle Mark, and whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or relocate to my beautiful city, Vancouver, I am your Vancouver realtor and would love to help you with your real estate goals. So until the next one, take care.